I'm like, the cold brew stuff, I can't get enough of it. It's like 20 degrees in Florida, and I'm drinking cold brew.
Number 1, the 1972 Ford F-150 Custom, listed for just $6,900 and located in Little Rock, Arkansas. This 1972 Ford F-150 Custom, affectionately known by its owner as David, is offered at $6,900 OBO and represents what many classic truck buyers are actually looking for: an honest, mechanically sorted driver rather than a shiny cosmetic flip hiding unknown issues. Showing 155,666 miles and equipped with an automatic transmission, this truck is powered by a 360 FE V8 with a 4-barrel carburetor, paired to the dependable C6 automatic and backed by the legendary Ford 9-inch rear axle with 3.25 gears. Its rear-wheel drive, simple, tough, and built the way early 70s Ford trucks were meant to be built. According to the seller, it starts, runs, drives, and stops exactly as it should, and that reliability is where the real value lies. Mechanically, this F-150 has already had important work handled. The entire brake system has been gone through, including a new master cylinder and replaced brake lines, which is critical on a 50-plus-year-old truck. It's also riding on brand new tires, giving the next owner immediate road confidence. The electrical system has been sorted out, and even small details like the reverse lights are functional, showing attention to practical drivability rather than just appearance. This isn't presented as a showpiece, it's described as a solid, usable truck that's ready to be enjoyed. Structurally, the truck retains its original steel bed, though the bed floor has been replaced, and the cab mount steel has been repaired, addressing common rust areas for this generation. The body is described as straight with good bones, and instead of hiding its age under fresh paint, it carries a natural patina, which many classic truck enthusiasts actually prefer. There are no glossy cover-ups here, just aged steel that tells its story honestly. Inside, the interior has been refreshed where it matters most. It features a new seat, new carpet, and a new dash pad, creating a cleaner and more comfortable driving space. The radio currently does not work, and while the truck includes original dealer AEC components, they are not hooked up at this time. That leaves room for a future owner to restore the factory air system if desired or simply enjoy it as a classic cruiser. On the paperwork side, the truck comes with a bonded title currently in process, with Arkansas bonded title paperwork already submitted and pending. For buyers familiar with bonded titles, this is a fairly common route for classic vehicles and worth confirming locally depending on registration plans. The seller is clear: no trades, serious buyers only. At $6,900, this 1972 Ford F-150 Custom sits in that sweet spot of affordability and usability. It's not a trailer queen, and it's not pretending to be one. It's a classic, carbureted V8 Ford with strong mechanical foundations, fresh brakes, new tires, and honest character. For someone looking to get into a vintage truck without jumping into a full restoration project, this F-150 feels like the kind of machine you can drive home, enjoy immediately, and improve at your own pace, one weekend at a time. Number 2, the 1994 Ford F-150 XLT Pickup, listed at $7,500 and located in Memphis, Tennessee. Up next is a 1994 Ford F-150 XLT showing 300,000 miles, powered by the dependable 5.0-liter V8 paired with an automatic transmission, and according to the seller, it's the kind of truck you can simply jump in and go. Priced at $7,500 firm, this F-150 represents the durable, no-nonsense era of Ford's OBS trucks, a generation that built its reputation on reliability, simplicity, and that unmistakable squared-off stance. Despite the mileage, the seller emphasizes that it runs and drives great, and even goes as far as saying they'd take it to California without hesitation, a bold vote of confidence for a truck that's already seen serious road time. Mechanically, this truck is described as solid and well-sorted, with numerous upgrades already completed. The heart of it all is the 5.0 V8, a motor widely known for longevity and ease of maintenance, especially in the early to mid-90s Ford lineup. It's backed by an automatic transmission that reportedly shifts well, making this more of a comfortable cruiser than a bare-bones work rig. What stands out here is the seller's insistence that everything works, from the AEC and heat to the radio, lights, buttons, and knobs. On a nearly 30-year-old truck, having full functionality across the board adds real value, especially for someone looking for a dependable daily driver rather than a project. Inside, this F-150 blends old-school truck feel with a few modern touches. Behind the seat sits a 10-inch speaker setup that reportedly sounds strong, adding some low-end presence to the cabin. Even more interesting is the addition of a Wolfbox 900 rearview mirror system, which integrates a backup camera and dash cam into a modern-style digital mirror. That upgrade alone gives this classic pickup contemporary safety and convenience features you wouldn't expect from a 1994 model. It's subtle modernization without compromising the truck's original character. Cosmetically, while the listing doesn't go into deep detail, the emphasis remains on drivability and functionality. The title is described as clean, which is always important at this mileage point, and the seller is firm on the price, either $7,500 cash or a trade for a Bronco only. That specificity tells you they know what they want and aren't simply trying to offload the truck. At 300,000 miles, this isn't a low-mile survivor, it's a seasoned veteran. But for many Ford enthusiasts, that mileage speaks to durability rather than decline, especially when paired with a strong-running 5.0 and fully functioning systems. For someone wanting a dependable OBS F-150 with cold AEC, modern camera upgrades, clean title, and road trip confidence, this Memphis-based XLT presents itself as a truck that's already proven it can go the distance, and might still have plenty left in the tank. Number 3, the 1978 Ford F-150 4x4 Ranger, listed for $8,000 and located in Lizton, Indiana. Now here's a truck that carries that unmistakable late 70s Ford attitude, a 1978 F-150 Ranger 4x4, priced at $8,000, and built with the kind of rugged presence that made these trucks icons in the first place. Under the hood sits a 351 modified 400 V8, paired with a 4-speed NP435 manual transmission, a heavy-duty gearbox known for its low granny gear, first gear and near-bulletproof durability. This is old-school mechanical toughness, the kind of drivetrain that was built to work hard and last decades. This F-150 doesn't sit at factory height. It's been lifted, though the seller isn't sure exactly which lift kit is installed. What we do know is it's riding on 35x12.50 R15 tires with less than 1,000 miles on them, practically new rubber that gives the truck a serious off-road stance. Combined with the factory 4x4 system, that setup makes this Ranger trim truck look ready for trails, fields, or just turning heads at the local gas station. The wide tires and lifted profile give it that classic square-body aggression that enthusiasts love from the 1973 to 1979 generation. Mechanically, some recent maintenance has already been handled. It has a new battery, and the starter was recently replaced, which is always reassuring on a vintage truck. The NP435 transmission is known for being simple and strong, especially when paired with big block-style torque from the 351M/400 platform. For buyers who appreciate manual transmissions, this setup delivers that direct, mechanical connection you just don't get in modern trucks. Inside, there are a few subtle upgrades. The truck features an aftermarket radio and speakers, adding a bit of modern convenience without dramatically changing the truck's classic personality. The seller notes that the paint and body look good for its age, which is important on a truck that's approaching 50 years old. It's not presented as a show-quality restoration, it's an honest, usable classic that still shows well. There's also a bit of backstory here. The seller mentions they're letting it go because their son, who recently got out of the military, no longer drives it. So this isn't being sold because of mechanical failure or major issues, it's simply not getting used. That context often says a lot about how a vehicle has been treated. The asking price is $8,000, and the seller states it's negotiable, though they make it clear they won't respond to "Is this still available?" messages. If it's posted, it's available. It's also worth noting the phrase, "for sale, not on sale," which suggests they believe the truck holds solid value at that price point, and in today's classic 4x4 market, a running, lifted 78 Ranger 4x4 with fresh tires and a manual transmission at $8,000 certainly gets attention. For someone looking for a classic Ford square body with real 4x4 capability, a manual gearbox, and that unmistakable late 70s presence, this Lizton-based F-150 Ranger offers vintage toughness with just enough modern touch to enjoy right away, and plenty of room to personalize if desired. Number 4, the 1984 Ford F-150 Short Bed XLT, listed for $9,000 and located in Altus, Oklahoma. Up next is a classic from the bullnose generation, a 1984 Ford F-150 Short Bed XLT, priced at $9,000 OBO, and it sounds like this one has already had a serious round of mechanical attention. These 1980 to 1986 F-Series trucks are gaining popularity fast, especially short bed XLT trims, and this example appears to have been maintained with drivability in mind. Under the hood sits the dependable Ford 302 V8, recently resealed, paired with a rebuilt transmission. That's a big plus right there. The seller notes the engine is high mileage and does have some blow-by, which isn't unusual for a well-used small block Ford, but importantly, it does not leak oil and runs like a top. That tells you this is a running, driving truck you can use, not one that needs immediate mechanical intervention. Suspension and front-end components have been thoroughly addressed. The seller mentions going through the entire suspension, replacing major bearings and wear points, and installing a new front end with a recent alignment. For anyone who has owned a classic truck, you know how big that is. A fresh suspension and proper alignment transform the way these trucks feel on the road, tightening up steering response and eliminating the loose, wandering feel older trucks can develop over time. It also features a dual exhaust system, giving that 302 V8 a deeper tone and a little extra personality. That classic small block rumble paired with a short bed stance gives this truck that unmistakable 1980s Ford character, simple, square, and functional. Cosmetically, while detailed condition isn't deeply described, it's positioned as a truck that runs and drives great up and down the road, suggesting it's road ready. It can be viewed in Blair, Oklahoma, or during weekdays at Amsco Steel, giving potential buyers a straightforward way to check it out. At $9,000 OBO, this truck sits in a reasonable range considering the rebuilt transmission, refreshed suspension, and resealed 302. The heavy mechanical work, suspension, transmission, bearings, represents thousands of dollars in parts and labor already completed. For someone looking for a usable classic F-150 that doesn't need to be trailered home, this 1984 short bed XLT offers a strong foundation. It's not advertised as a show truck or fully restored example, it's presented as an honest, sorted driver with solid mechanical investment. And for many enthusiasts, that's exactly the sweet spot: classic styling, dependable road manners, and room to personalize without starting from scratch. Number 5, the 1970 Ford F-100 Custom Regular Cab, listed for $10,000 and located in Carrollton, Texas. Here we've got a 1970 Ford F-100 Custom Long Bed, priced at $10,000 cash, and this one checks several important boxes for anyone looking for a usable classic truck with solid fundamentals. With 130,000 miles showing and an automatic transmission, it's positioned as a straightforward driver, not a project, not a trailer queen, just an honest, running classic. Under the hood sits the desirable 390 FEV8, one of Ford's legendary big block engines from that era. The 390 is known for its strong low-end torque and smooth cruising ability, especially when paired with an automatic. In a long bed F-150, that combination makes for a comfortable classic cruiser that still has the muscle to move when needed. Whether you're heading to a weekend meet, hauling light loads, or just enjoying a relaxed drive, the 390 delivers that deep, unmistakable vintage V8 feel. One standout feature here is factory-style air conditioning. That's a big deal, especially in Texas. Classic trucks with working AEC are far more enjoyable year-round, and adding AEC later can be costly. Having it already installed makes this truck far more practical as a regular driver. It also comes equipped with power steering, another major plus. Early 70s pickups without power steering can feel heavy at low speeds, but with assist, this F-150 becomes much easier to maneuver in town or when parking. That combination of big block power, automatic transmission, AEC, and power steering makes this truck far more comfortable than many base model classics from the same period. The seller states it runs and drives, and the interior is in good condition, suggesting this isn't a stripped-down work truck but something that's been cared for. The long bed configuration adds classic proportions and practicality, great for cruising, hauling, or even future customization. A clean title is included, and the listing is clear, $10,000 cash. No complicated terms, no hidden conditions, just a straightforward sale. For someone looking to step into a 1970 Ford F-150 with a strong 390 V8, automatic transmission, air conditioning, and power steering, all already in place, this Carrollton, Texas example offers a balanced mix of drivability and classic character at a reasonable price point in today's market. Number 6, the 1970 Ford F-250 Ranger Camper Special, listed at $8,000 and located in Clayton, North Carolina. Up next is a true heavy-duty classic, a 1970 Ford F-250 Ranger Camper Special, offered at $8,000 with a clean title in hand. This isn't just another half-ton pickup. This is Ford's three-quarter-ton workhorse from the golden era of American trucks, built tougher, heavier, and designed to haul serious weight, especially campers, as the name suggests. Under the hood sits a rebuilt 390 big block V8, one of Ford's most respected FE series engines. The 390 is known for its strong torque delivery and durability, and in a truck like the F-250, that low-end pulling power is exactly what you want. Paired with a C6 automatic transmission, one of Ford's most reliable heavy-duty automatics, this setup is simple, proven, and built to handle the demands of a bigger truck. The seller states it runs and drives, which immediately makes this more than just a parked project. It's something you can use and improve over time. Being a Ranger trim, this truck would have originally come with upgraded interior touches compared to base models, adding a bit of comfort to its heavy-duty capability. And as a camper special, it was engineered from the factory with reinforced suspension and cooling upgrades to support slide-in campers, meaning it's structurally stronger than a standard F-250 of the same year. One of the standout features here is the original patina paint. Rather than hiding under fresh respray, this truck wears its age honestly. Patina trucks have become increasingly desirable in recent years because they tell a story, they show character. Combined with the note that it has little to no rust, that's a strong selling point. Solid metal is always more important than shiny paint. The long bed configuration keeps it practical and true to its era. Whether you're thinking restoration, shop truck build, weekend cruiser, or even keeping it as a vintage hauler, the foundation appears solid. Trucks from 1970 are now over 50 years old, and clean, running examples, especially F-250 camper specials, are getting harder to find in usable condition. At $8,000, this Clayton, North Carolina truck presents itself as a balanced opportunity, big block power, heavy-duty platform, original character, and a clean title, all in a classic body style that continues to gain appreciation among collectors and enthusiasts alike. Number 7, the 1977 Chevrolet K10, listed at $10,500 and located in Kentland, Indiana. Here we've got a square-body legend, a 1977 Chevrolet K10 4x4, showing 55,000 miles on the odometer, and advertised as an Arizona truck with no rust. That alone immediately grabs attention, because anyone who knows these late 70s Chevys understands how rare it is to find one that hasn't dissolved around the cab corners, rockers, and bed seams. A rust-free foundation on a 4x4 from this era is a big deal. Under the hood sits a small block Chevy 350, paired with a TH350 3-speed automatic transmission, a combination that's about as classic and reliable as it gets. The glovebox sticker reportedly says 400 cubic inches, though the seller hasn't verified that, so we'll treat it as a 350 SBC for now. Either way, small block Chevys are simple, easy to maintain, and parts are everywhere. Power is sent through a stock transfer case to all four wheels, and out back is a 10-bolt rear end, a common and dependable setup for a half-ton 4x4 of this generation. This is a long bed K10, which gives it that true working truck stance. The seller mentions it runs, drives, steers, and stops well, which is exactly what you want to hear from a vintage four-wheel drive. Even better, the cooling system has been completely replaced, addressing one of the most common reliability concerns in older trucks. Inside, there's been attention to detail. It has new carpeting and insulation, new seat belts, and rebuilt doors. Various engine components have been refreshed, and it now breathes through a dual exhaust system with 10 series mufflers, giving it that aggressive, unmistakable small block rumble. The seller describes meticulous maintenance overall, though notes that the dashboard, windshield wipers, climate control, and some front steering components haven't been addressed yet. That honesty is important. This isn't being presented as a fully restored show truck, but rather a solid, well-maintained driver that still has a few projects left for the next owner. The truck retains its original paint and trim, which adds character and authenticity. It also includes a toolbox and miscellaneous spare parts, always a bonus when buying an older vehicle. The reason for selling is personal. The owner recently had their first child and no longer has the time to enjoy it. That's often how these classics come up for sale. Life changes, and priorities shift. At $10,500, this rust-free 1977 Chevrolet K10 represents a strong value in today's square body market. Clean, solid 4x4 examples, especially Arizona trucks, continue to rise in demand. Whether you keep it as a dependable vintage 4x4, slowly finish the remaining details, or build it into something even more aggressive, this K10 offers a very solid starting point in Kentland, Indiana. Number 8, the 1969 GMC C10, offered at $12,500 and located in Saint Petersburg. Here we're looking at a true late 60s classic, a 1969 GMC C10, showing 40,523 miles on the odometer, paired with an automatic transmission and powered by a 350 V8. This is the kind of truck that sits right in that sweet spot, vintage styling, simple mechanics, and the kind of presence that doesn't need flashy paint to get attention. Under the hood is the small block 350, backed by an automatic transmission and equipped with power steering, making it far more comfortable to drive than earlier manual steer trucks from the decade before. The seller states it runs and drives, and importantly, it retains its original drivetrain, which adds to its authenticity. For collectors and enthusiasts, originality still carries weight, especially in trucks that haven't been overly modified. Mechanically, there has already been a fair amount of recent work completed. It features a new carburetor, though it could use some fine-tuning, which is common when dialing in air-fuel mixture on a fresh install. It also has new spark plugs, new brake lines, a new master cylinder, a new fuel sending unit, new valve covers, and a new battery. Those are meaningful upgrades, especially the brake system components, because they address reliability and safety rather than just appearance. Rolling stock has been refreshed with new tires, and visually the truck benefits from a new bumper and a new bed liner, helping preserve the bed while keeping that clean, usable look. The truck carries what's described as original patina, meaning the exterior shows honest age and character rather than fresh paint hiding bodywork. Patina trucks have become increasingly desirable over the past decade, particularly on 1967 to 1972 GM Action Line pickups like this one. They tell a story, and many buyers prefer that authenticity over a glossy repaint. Now, it's not without its needs. The seller is upfront in mentioning that the new carburetor could use tuning, and the rear brakes will need to be gone through. That's something any buyer should factor into the purchase, but it's also fairly typical maintenance on a vehicle that's over 55 years old. The fact that the truck already has new brake lines and a new master cylinder means much of the system groundwork has already been addressed. With a clean title in hand, a strong-running 350 V8, automatic transmission, power steering, and a list of recent mechanical updates, this 1969 GMC C10 presents itself as a solid driver quality classic. At $12,500, it falls into that accessible range where you can enjoy it immediately while gradually refining it, whether that means dialing in the carburetor, finishing the rear brakes, or simply cruising it as is and appreciating the originality. In today's market, clean, running late 60s GM trucks with original character and documented updates continue to attract attention, and this Saint Petersburg C10 fits right into that category. Number 9, the 1966 Chevrolet C10, priced at $14,500 and located in Rogers, Arkansas. Up next is a 1966 Chevrolet C10 long bed, technically a C15, showing 152,000 original miles and paired with a manual transmission. Under the hood sits a 350 cubic inch V8 topped with a 4-barrel carburetor, backed by a 4-speed, granny low manual gearbox. It's a classic configuration, but this truck goes deeper than just the basics. The current owner has had it for about 8 years and says it's been driven once or twice weekly, not parked, not forgotten, but regularly exercised. It has reportedly been garaged for the last 20 years, and before that it spent 12 years stored indoors in a workshop. That kind of storage history matters on a 60-year-old truck. This one was originally a California truck, spending most of its early life in Central California farm country before being brought to Arkansas in 2000. As a result, rust is described as minimal for an unrestored original example. Mechanically, the owner is clearly proud of how this truck performs. He states it drives better than new, thanks to upgrades including a better carburetor, improved ignition system, upgraded brakes, and modern tires. It features an Edelbrock 4-barrel carburetor with properly tuned vacuum secondaries and an MSD HEI ignition system with both mechanical and vacuum advance dialed in. The result? According to the seller, it fires up easily, even cold, often without needing choke unless temperatures drop below freezing. Depress the gas once, turn the key, and it starts right up. The 4-speed granny transmission shifts properly, the clutch engages smoothly, and the power disc brakes bring the truck down confidently. Steering is described as straight and stable. On a flat road, you can reportedly let go of the wheel and it tracks true. At 60 miles per hour, with what's believed to be a 3.56 gear ratio, the engine turns approximately 2,400 revolutions per minute, a reasonable cruising range for a vintage small block with a manual transmission. Another standout detail is the rear suspension. This truck was factory ordered with a GMC leaf spring rear setup, something that was available in 1966 but rarely seen today. The differential and gear ratio are also GMC components, adding an unusual and interesting footnote to its build. The original factory build sheet was found under the seat. Though fragile and partially deteriorated, the owner pieced it together and laminated it, and that documentation is included with the truck. It's also equipped with air conditioning and power disc brakes, comfort and safety features that make it much more enjoyable to use regularly. The seller makes it clear, this is not a muscle car pretending to be something it's not. It's a pickup truck, just one with more horsepower than it strictly needs and mechanical systems that have been thoughtfully dialed in. Offered at $14,500 by the owner in Rogers, Arkansas, this 1966 Chevrolet C10 represents a well-kept, mechanically sorted classic with documented history, rare rear suspension configuration, and honest long-term ownership, the kind of truck you can drive, enjoy, and appreciate for both its character and its details. Number 10, the 1988 Dodge D250 regular cab long bed, listed for $16,000 and located in Powley, Indiana. Here we have a late 80s Dodge workhorse, a 1988 Dodge D250 regular cab, long bed configuration, showing 86,000 miles and equipped with a manual transmission. This is a true 3/4-ton truck, built during a time when heavy-duty pickups were designed with simplicity, durability, and purpose in mind. Under the hood, while exact engine details aren't specified, the truck is described as running and driving great, and paired with a 4-speed manual transmission. That combination alone tells you this is an old-school driving experience, mechanical, direct, and connected. No complicated electronics, no unnecessary extras, just clutch, gears, and torque doing the work the way a 3/4-ton truck should. It's equipped with power steering and power brakes, which make a noticeable difference in everyday usability, especially on a heavier-duty platform like the D250. You still get that solid, planted feel of a 3/4-ton chassis, but without the arm workout that older manual steering systems required. It also features an AM/FM radio, simple, period-correct convenience that fits the truck's straightforward character. The long bed configuration adds to its practicality. Whether for hauling materials, towing equipment, or just enjoying the look of a proper full-length pickup bed, this is the classic heavy-duty stance many enthusiasts prefer. The seller notes that it's sitting on like-new tires, which is an important detail for a truck in this weight class. Good rubber makes a real difference in ride quality, braking, and overall road confidence. With only 86,000 miles showing, this D250 sits well below the typical mileage you'd expect from a 1988 work truck. Many of these trucks were pushed hard through decades of labor. Finding one described as nice and in strong running condition suggests it may have had a lighter or better maintained life compared to many of its peers. The overall tone of the listing reflects confidence. It's presented as a solid, honest old truck that runs and drives great. No hype, no flashy claims. Just a straightforward heavy-duty Dodge ready for work or for someone looking to own a clean example of a late 80s 3/4-ton manual pickup. Offered at $16,000 in Powley, Indiana, this 1988 Dodge D250 regular cab long bed stands as a simple, durable, mechanically engaging classic truck, the kind that reminds you how capable and rugged pickups were before the era of oversized screens and luxury trims took over the segment. Number 11, the 1973 International Harvester 1210 Camper Special, listed for $28,000 and located in San Diego. This is not your average classic pickup. The 1973 IH 1210 Camper Special represents a time when international-built trucks with a singular focus, strength, durability, and real-world utility. Powered by a 392 cubic inch V8 and paired with a 4-speed manual transmission, this is a true heavy-duty 4x4 platform. The odometer shows just 36,000 miles, which is remarkably low for a truck of this era, especially one built to work. The 1210 Camper Special package was designed specifically to handle slide-in campers and heavy loads. That means reinforced suspension, an 8-foot bed, and a chassis built to manage serious weight. This example retains that heavy-duty character, and the seller notes that both fuel tanks are functional, an important feature for long-distance or off-grid travel. Four-wheel drive is reported to work properly, reinforcing its capability beyond pavement. A significant amount of recent investment has gone into this truck. Mechanically, engine work was handled by the dyno shop, along with fresh engine oil, transmission fluid, and differential fluid. Electrical work was completed by Broadway Auto, helping ensure reliability in areas that often show age in classic trucks. These are meaningful updates that speak to upkeep rather than neglect. Cosmetically, the truck has undergone extensive attention. It features fresh paint, new interior work, a bed liner, and replacement urethane fuel tanks. The windshield and rubber seals have also been replaced, details that matter in preserving a classic from water intrusion and long-term deterioration. These updates suggest this is not a forgotten project, but a truck brought back with intention. There are still a few small items left to address. The tailgate currently has a temporary hinge setup, the speedometer cable needs replacement, and the rearview mirror needs attention. However, the seller includes extra parts such as a Dana 60 gasket, a replacement speedo cable, and IH emblems, small but useful additions for someone continuing the refinement. It's worth noting the truck is registered in Alabama and classified as pre-smog, which may simplify ownership depending on where it's ultimately registered. Offered at $28,000 OBO, this 1973 International Harvester 1210 Camper Special stands as a restored and thoughtfully refreshed example of a heavy-duty American 4x4, blending classic utility, mechanical honesty, and the kind of presence only a vintage International can deliver. Number 12, the 1950 Ford F-150 Classic truck, listed at just $500 and located in Hamilton, Montana. This 1950 Ford F-150 is a reminder of a time when trucks were built for one purpose, to work hard and keep going. Back in its day, the F-150 was a serious piece of equipment, designed as a medium-duty hauler with dual rear wheels and the kind of rugged construction that defined post-war American industry. Today, this one sits as a restoration candidate, waiting for someone willing to bring it back to life. The odometer reads 99,999 miles, though with trucks of this era, exact mileage is often secondary to overall condition. What matters more is the foundation, and this F4 still carries its original stock truck bed along with its dual rear-wheel setup, a defining feature that gives it that unmistakable heavy-duty stance. You don't see many of these surviving in recognizable form anymore. It has been out of service for approximately 15 years, so it should be viewed as a full project rather than a running driver. The body is described as being in fair condition, which suggests a workable starting point for restoration. The interior, however, is rough and will require significant attention. For a 1950 work truck that's been sitting for over a decade, that's not surprising. These trucks were tools first, comfort second. What makes something like this appealing isn't polish, it's potential. The 1950 Ford F-4 represents early F-Series heritage, just a few years after Ford introduced the F-Series line in 1948. Underneath its aged exterior is a piece of American agricultural and industrial history. With its manual transmission and classic heavy-duty chassis, it's the kind of truck that could become a farm hauler again, a rat rod build, a patina project, or a full factory-correct restoration. At $500, the price reflects exactly what it is, a project that must be hauled away. It's not being positioned as a quick flip or an easy turnaround. It's being offered as an opportunity, for someone who sees value in bringing an old workhorse back from retirement. For the right person, this isn't just scrap metal. It's a 1950 Ford F-4 with stories behind it and the bones to tell more. Number 13, the 1979 Ford F-150, listed at $11,000 and located in Camp Verde. This 1979 Ford F-150 is a solid example of Ford's late 70s full-size truck era, a time when these pickups were built heavy, simple, and tough enough to handle real work while still being comfortable enough to drive every day. This one comes equipped with four-wheel drive and a 4-speed manual transmission, giving it that old-school, hands-on driving feel that many enthusiasts actively seek today. Under the hood sits a rebuilt 390 cubic inch V8, with very few miles since the rebuild, offering strong torque and the kind of reliability that made the FE big blocks so popular in trucks of this era. According to the seller, the truck runs and drives well, making it usable right now as a daily driver, weekend cruiser, or light work truck, while also serving as a great foundation for a full restoration if that's the direction you want to take. The odometer shows 74,500 miles, which lines up well with the overall presentation and suggests this truck hasn't been overly abused during its lifetime. As a 1979 model, it represents the final years of the classic dentside body style, a design that has steadily grown in popularity thanks to its clean lines, wide stance, and unmistakable Ford character. With four-wheel drive, a manual gearbox, and a freshly rebuilt big block V8, this F-150 checks a lot of boxes for enthusiasts who want something mechanical, honest, and engaging to drive. It's not being pitched as a show truck or a fully restored example, but rather as a good, usable classic, the kind you can drive as is, improve over time, or restore at your own pace without worrying about undoing someone else's questionable modifications. Located in Camp Verde, this truck offers a blend of practicality and vintage appeal, making it equally suitable for someone looking for a dependable classic driver or a strong starting point for a long-term project. For anyone wanting a late 70s Ford pickup with real four-wheel drive capability, a big block heart, and a manual transmission, this 1979 F-150 stands out as a straightforward, no-nonsense option that still has plenty of life left in it.